Starting off with some of the notable games this year, you have the Broncos and the Seahawks. That is going to be a rematch of the Super Bowl. Really looking forward to that one. That'll be week 3. I'm glad it's early in the season because that's going to be a nice matchup. The Broncos are going to be at Seattle, and we know how tough a place that is to play. So I think the Seahawks right now are going to get the edge in that one. But like I said, there's so much time before the season starts. You still have to go through the draft, and there's still a lot of things that are going to happen. So picks right now are hard to do because so much is going to change in that span. But right now, it's fun to kind of just look at how things are shaping up. And then the 49ers and the Seahawks matchups, I really like the way the NFL plays them because week 13 the Seahawks will go to San Francisco, and week 15 the 49ers will go to Seattle. And I like how they put them that far in the season because we both know these teams are going to make it far, but I think late in the season these games are probably going to decide the division, and I think the sort of 49ers are going to take a step back this year because everything that's gone off with the offseason, the scandal with Aldon Smith and Colin Kaepernick, the thing you had a couple of months ago with John Harbaugh where they tried to trade him. I think there's a lot of tension with the front office, with all the players on this team, and I think it's going to affect them right this year because I don't know how it couldn't. They've really had a tumultuous offseason. But Rob, what do you think is what's going to happen with the 49ers next year?
I mean, a lot of people are saying they should finally come to win a championship this year. I mean, Harbaugh has done so great, Joe. He's brought them to so many NFC championships. He brought them to the Super Bowl. They need to finally win. They need to get this off their shoulders. But yet again, I see Seattle taking this from them. There's one team, though, I'm going to tell you right now, in the NFC West you can't count out, which is the Arizona Cardinals. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They had a really great year last year. Barely missed the playoffs. They had a great record. If they were in the other side in the East, they would have made the playoffs. This is a good team to look out for. Great cornerbacks, great defense, and I'd like to see their offense rolling. But right now, I have the Seahawks winning it over the 49ers.
I agree. I think the Seahawks will take it. And building on your point of the Cardinals, the thing you really can't sleep on them is, I mean, their defense is phenomenal, and you give Carson Palmer another year in Bruce Arians' system, I think he's going to play much better next year. And yet, you're right, you can't because I think everything that's happened with the 49ers, they got to watch out because the Rams are getting better. They're getting Sam Bradford back. The Cardinals had a great year. They're going to have another good year. So the 49ers, they really need to watch out because they've had a tumultuous offseason. They really have to come prepared. Then week 9, of course, you have another Peyton Manning and Tom Brady rematch. Broncos at Patriots. Hopefully this game this year won't be as cold as it was because, I mean, that was a very good game, but it was just miserably cold. I mean, Peyton Manning, it was pretty much a no Sean Moreno all game. I mean, he just kept feeding him the ball. They couldn't throw the ball in that game, but it was an amazing Patriots comeback, and it'll be exciting to see that game with a rematch. Then week 1, you have the Packers at the Seahawks. Everybody remembers that Monday night game with that horrendous call with the replacement officials, and that's going to be an exciting game to watch with Aaron Rodgers. We haven't seen him in a while at full strength, so it's going to be really fun to see him go to Seattle. And then Week 11, I'm really excited for this one. You have the New England Patriots going to the Indianapolis Colts. Tom Brady versus Andrew Luck. And I say it all the time. Andrew Luck, I think he's the best young quarterback in the NFL. He's so much fun to watch. I really want to see how they're going to play this year with the weapons. They finally got him a nice piece in Hakeem Nicks, and I hope Nicks has a really good year because Andrew Luck, if you surround this kid with talent, he's going to win you a Super Bowl sometime because he's just unbelievably talented. Photographic memory. Andrew Luck, just the sky is the limit for this kid. He's just so much fun to watch play. But that has been the notable games, and right now we're going to start off by picking the New York Giants 2014 schedule. So let's start off with the first game, which will be on Monday night, September 8th against the Detroit Lions, and this is a really exciting Monday night first game of the season matchup. I'm really looking forward to this one with Detroit and the Giants. I'm going to pick Detroit here to win this one, the first game. I think Detroit, depending on what they do in the draft, their offense is looking awful scary. I don't know what Jim Caldwell is going to do, how it's going to pan out, but I'm still curious what's going to happen with the Giants. I think this is a tough first game on Monday night. I think the Lions are going to come up fired up in this game, and I got Detroit winning the first game.
Joe, I'm going to take the Giants in this game. I just feel the Giants really rebuilt over this offseason, really got a defense together, got some nice fits on offense. And the reason why I'm taking the Giants, after the way Detroit finished last year, I do understand they have a new coach. I still don't think Detroit's that great team that which everybody has them held up as. I know they picked up a great wide receiver in the offseason, but the Giants, you still got to watch out for them.
It's a fair point about the Lions. I mean, Jim Caldwell, I was never too ecstatic about the hiring, but they couldn't get the man they wanted, Ken Wisenhunt, so he was kind of where they had to go. The Giants' next game will be on Sunday, September 14th against the Arizona Cardinals. Unfortunately for the Giants fans, I have that as another loss. I think Arizona is a very good team, very good defensive team. I think that this will be a low-scoring game right now, but I think after Detroit and Arizona, I think Arizona is going to be another loss. It'll be a tough game.
Yeah, definitely. I'll take a loss for this one. I just think Detroit's defense will be able to shut down Manning.
Absolutely. Then week 3 of Sunday, September 21st, they're taking on the Houston Texans. I have this as their first win of the season. Depending on if the Texans draft Johnny Manziel, that'll definitely influence this, but it's going to be hard to see him coming and having that big an impact right away. So I think the Houston Texans are still a team that lack a quarterback, so I'm going to go with the Giants to get a win here.
Well, this one, Joe, I'm really stuck on. I don't know. I'm very uncertain who I'm going to take for this one, because here's the thing. Whoever Houston takes in the first round, that quarterback they're going to take, we have to see first what he's going to do through those first 2 games. That will help me decide with the Giants. I'm going to hold off on this one.
That's fair. Like I said, it's tough to pick right now. Then you have week 4, they're going to Washington. I have them winning here. The Giants, I think the Redskins, I'm still not sold on this team. I think RG3, the way that this offense works, I think the Giants defense is very prepared to stop this offense. I'd like to see what's going to happen with RG3, so I have them getting a win on the road here.
Most definitely a win. You got to just keep abusing RG3 in this game. He is weak, and his career is still not what it's supposed to be. His knee injury has really killed him, and the Giants are going to take full advantage of that in this game.
The big thing about RG3 is he takes one bad step. He's one run away from, just ending everything. He's really got to be careful. He's really got to become more of a passer instead of running first for every play, because he's not going to last in this league if he keeps playing that way. Then you have Sunday, October 5th, the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta is one of those interesting ones. The most disappointing team of all last year for me. I had really high expectations for them, and I don't know how they're going to bounce back, because they have a quarterback, they have a lot of talent, but I don't know what's going to happen with this team, because there was nothing wrong with them last year. They never should have had the season that they had, so I don't know how they're going to bounce back. So it's tough, but I have the Giants getting a win here.
Yeah, I have the Giants too for this one, Joe. Atlanta, after last year, I thought they would have been the same team that went 13-3. They were very weak last year, and they just need to start rebuilding again. This team is in a bad struggle. I have the Giants taking this.
Then you have the Philadelphia Eagles, and I have a loss here for the Giants. They're at Philadelphia here, and Philadelphia, Nick Foles. I think Nick Foles another year and Chip Kelly's system is going to be tremendous for him. The Eagles really did a nice job. They're developing a good team. The problem with the Eagles is their defense is just still horrendous. I think they're going to look to address that in the draft and hopefully develop their players this offseason. But that defense has really got to get cleaned up, because I have no question what they can do on offense, but defensively they definitely need to clean it up. Now here from week 7 to week 12, this is probably the heart of the Giants' schedule. This is where they've really got to make things happen, because this is just brutal. They have their bye week, week 8, but at week 7 they play the Dallas Cowboys at Dallas. I have them getting a win here before their bye week. But listen to this. After the bye week, from week 9 to week 12, brutal. They play the Indianapolis Colts. They go to Seattle. They go to San Francisco, and they go to Dallas. That is a really, really hard part of their schedule right there. And it just, unfortunately, I have them losing to all 4 of those teams. I think they'll beat Dallas before the bye week, but then I just can't see them beating Andrew Luck and the Colts. At Seattle. Seattle is one of the hardest places to play in the NFL. San Francisco, I think they'll beat them as well. And I just think all that sustained, just playing so many good teams in a row, I think then they'll play Dallas again, and I think that's going to end up in a loss. But what do you think of that stretch? Brutal.
That stretch is very brutal, Joe. I'll tell you right off the back, the Colts game is going to be a really tight game. The Colts will prevail in that one. Seattle, that's a blowout by Seattle. I'm sorry, it's in Seattle.
Yeah.
That's lights out.
They don't lose at home.
San Fran, you know them. They hate the Giants. The Giants hate them. Another tough game, but the 49ers will prevail. And then the Dallas Cowboys, I think the Giants will beat them at MetLife Stadium. I know they haven't done good in the past versus them, but Dallas is pretty weak, Joe. They really haven't improved whatsoever. They lost to Marcus Ware over the offseason, and I think this Dallas team is going to get abused this year.
Could we say, going into the season, worst defense in the NFL?
Oh, most definitely.
I think they're just horrendous.
They'll be lucky to get 5 wins this year, this Dallas team.
I mean, there's just they're not going to be. They couldn't stop teams this year with some pieces, and they lose some of those pieces. And I think this defense is just going to be so bad. I mean, they're going to give up a lot of points this year, so they better hope Tony Romo brings his A game because he's going to need to score a lot of points for this team this year. The good thing for the Giants is after that tough stretch, they could definitely salvage their season the rest of the way because the rest of the games are very winnable. From week 13 to week 17, they played the Jaguars, the Titans, the Redskins, the Rams, and the Eagles. I would say all of those games, maybe with the exception of Philadelphia, is very in favor of the Giants. I think they'll beat Jacksonville. I think they'll beat Tennessee, even though those are both road games. I think they could definitely win those games. I think they will. They could either split with Washington there or win that game. I think they'll beat St. Louis at St. Louis, and I think that they will beat Philadelphia. I think they'll split with the Redskins and the Eagles, so you can split those wins there. But that's definitely a nice way to look at it, is that the last stretch of the season is definitely salvageable.
Yeah, most definitely, Joe. I really think the Giants could go undefeated to end the year 5-0 versus those last 5 teams.
It's very possible, but at the end of the day, when I tabulated mine, I have the Giants at 8-8. I think, look, that could definitely change as things go on. There's still so much that's going to happen through the draft. And look, it's just, you never know because it's so early. But right now, I have it at 8-8. Rob, what did you have the Giants record?
I have them going 9-7.
9-7. You have them more than me. I'm sure my dad will be happier with you than he is with me. Now you have your big shot, Rob, is New York Jets. It's time to pick their schedule.
Second Super Bowl, baby.
Second Super Bowl.
No, not really. That's like 20 more years from now.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. But it's okay. The Chargers and the Lions, they've never won it either, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So we're in the same boat. Week 1 for the Jets, September 7th, they play the Oakland Raiders. Look, the Raiders, they have the hardest schedule in the NFL this year, which makes a lot of sense. And the Jets, they'll win this game.
This is going to be a tough game, Joe. I'm not going to lie. When I first thought of it, you think of the old Raiders teams. Oh, the Jets could win this.
Yeah.
The Raiders have a lot of pieces put together, so we're going to see a fight. I think my Jets will prevail by 3 points in this game.
Very good. Then week 2, September 14th, this is an interesting game. They go to Green Bay. I have this as a loss for the Jets. The thing I have to go off by is last year the Jets, they were such a very patterned team. I mean, they would play 1 week at home and they'd just clobber a team like the Saints, and then they'd go on the road and they'd just get destroyed by a team like the Bengals. This is the case here. I think Aaron Rodgers will have his way with this Jets team at his home.
Yeah, you got to be worried with this game, Joe, especially the Jets are playing a real quarterback in this one, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And the cornerback situation for the Jets, they will be getting abused in this game, especially with the way Rodgers throws. So I have my Jets losing.
Absolutely. Then week 3 and week 4, the Jets will take on the Bears and the Lions, both at home. I think they'll win both these games. I think at home, the Jets showed last year they play extremely well. I think against Chicago, they'll get the win. I think against Detroit, they'll get the win. I think their defense will give the Lions and the Bears a lot of problems. I have back-to-back wins in these 2 weeks.
I have us beating the Bears, but I don't think we're going to be able to control Megatron in that other game. I'm sorry, the Lions will win this. The Jets have a lot to worry about when Megatron comes to New York.
Definitely, that'll be a big key because I think that's my biggest problem with the Jets' defense is their secondary is just really, they're going to have a lot of trouble this year. But up front, they should be able to stop Detroit. Then week 5 to 7 that's a tough stretch for the Jets. They go to San Diego, they play Denver at home, and they go to New England. I have them losing all 3 games. I think from Detroit, I think San Diego is going to give them some trouble. I think Phillip Rivers will have a good day throwing the football against that secondary. I think Denver and Peyton Manning will have a good day against that secondary. And I think at New England, it's tough. Maybe the Jets will get the win against New England at home, but I have them losing the game at New England.
I'm telling you right now, Joe, here's what's going to happen in those 3 weeks. We are going to beat the Chargers. I'm telling you that right now.
Beating my Chargers.
We will beat them. And Denver, you know what? A lot of people go against me on this. I have a feeling we're going to pull it out versus Denver. I know Peyton Manning will abuse this Jets defense. I think he will abuse them. But I have hope in them because they have beaten him before in this defense.
Well, look, last year, who would have thought that the Jets would have beat teams like the Saints at home? So you never know. I mean, last year we were very surprised. Week 8 to Week 10, you have the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Steelers. I have the Jets beating the Bills, beating the Chiefs, and I have them losing to the Steelers. What did you have there?
I have them beating the Bills and the Steelers, not the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are just too much for the Jets. Versus the Steelers should be a great game. It's time for the Jets to finally beat the Steelers. It's too long of a wait for all New York fans for this, and we need a win finally against this team. Pittsburgh is very weak. They have a weak wide receiver corps this year.
Yeah, they have a lot of losses this season. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how they address them. After that, though, the final stretch from Week 12 on, they play Buffalo, Miami, Minnesota, Tennessee, New England, and Miami. So that's definitely a favorable stretch down the season. I think excuse me. I think during that stretch they will lose to Buffalo. I think they'll split with Buffalo. I see them beating Miami, beating Minnesota, beating Tennessee, and then losing their final 2 games against New England and Miami. Overall, I have the Jets at 8-8, but Rob, I'm sure you disagree. What do you think of their final stretch?
9-7 or 10-6 we're gonna go. I think we're gonna lose to the Bills. I'll tell you that. We're gonna split with the Bills.
One of the games, yeah, I agree.
But I think we could beat the Dolphins twice this year. They're in danger, but the thing that worries me with the Dolphins is they actually have a running back right now with Keyshawn Moreno. So that's one thing the Jets need to worry about. We will beat New England in New Jersey.
Definitely. And I think that's fair. I mean, look, the big thing for the Jets is going to be what is going to happen with the quarterback. Are they going to stick it through with Geno Smith, even though if he struggles, are they going to plug Michael Vick in there? I think that would be a bad idea. I don't want to mess up with Geno's confidence. I think you got to play it out with Geno and see how it goes, but defensively, they're doing a lot of good things. They've added a lot of good offensive pieces. It should be a fun year to watch the Jets.
Yes, most definitely, Joe. I really hope Geno steps up this year.
Absolutely. Well, that is going to do it for this show. It's been a great episode of the Sports Vault. Like I said before, I mean, you got so many big NHL and NBA playoff games this weekend. It's such an exciting time of the year. We will be back next week, same time, same place. And before we leave, just want to mention everybody about the Ryan Leslie concert tonight at the Heinz Gym. Tonight at 8:30. A lot of people are going to be going there. I think Big Shot Rob, you'll be there, won't you?
Yeah, I most definitely will.
So maybe if you see Big Shot Rob down there, give him a nice wave and he'll come over to you. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Sports Vault. Thank you for tuning in.